So, it's Halloween. I want to give you guys a true spooky story. It did. A true spooky story. It didn't happen to me, but it happened to a guy I knew I went to school with. You see, growing up, his father owned a landscaping company. It was their last name and son's landscaping. And yeah, the sons did the work. The father bid out the jobs, but the sons did the work. So I'm sure there were some labor laws that may have been violated. But that's just how it was back then. So I'm in this really old cemetery here. And the story that I'm going to tell you, it took place in a cemetery. Not this one, but one not too dissimilar. You see, during the summer months, my friend would push a lawnmower, rake leaves, just do all the stuff that was required for his father's landscaping company. But he told this story that during the fall in Chicago, there was a cemetery that had a lot of trees like this, and as you can see, it's carpeted with leaves. Well, what this particular cemetery would do is they would contract his father's company to come in and blow the leaves away. He had these large walk-behind leaf blowers. This is before the day of where you had it on the backpack. You had to push it, and it was kind of like a big ducted fan. And what him and his brother would do is they would go through the rows, pushing the leaves out onto the road. And his older brother, who had a driver's license, they had a pickup truck that had a large suction vacuum on the back, would suck up the leaves, and then it would grind them up and they would dispose of the leaves. Well, this certain cemetery, when they would contract out, it would only be during the fall. And school had already started, but my friend said he loved doing this because they would get to the cemetery usually on a weekday just after the gates closed. And he said it was actually kind of fun just pushing this big industrial leaf blower, pushing the leaves down to the road, and his brother would suck them up with the truck. So he's in the cemetery, and he said that he's going through the rows, blowing out the leaves, taking care not to disturb any flowers or anything that may have been left behind. Except this portion of the cemetery, people didn't come visit it that much anymore because the people who were buried there, the youngest people, were casualties of World War I. The cemetery had stopped burying people in the mid-20s. And now this is early 90s, 90, 91 when this story took place. So for you to have a loved one buried in this section of the cemetery, that meant that you would be well into your 70s, because it had been a little bit over 70 years they stopped burying people. Well, this part of the cemetery was on a hill, and my friend said that the blower was very heavy and the terrain was uneven. So he's going down, it's rocking back and forth, and he's trying to keep it straight, trying to make sure he's not causing any damage to anything that may have been left behind. And he's busy looking down, and as he comes around the hill, he looks up and he sees there's a man in a suit standing at a grave. So my friend, immediately he shuts down the blower. Last thing he wants to do is pepper this person with leaves and rocks and twigs and all the junk. So the thing is, the time when my friend was working, the cemetery was already closed. The only one who should have been in the cemetery are him, his brother, and then there was a caretaker in the front office. Yet here's this elderly man who's mourning. And he takes a look around the cemetery, looking to see if the man has a car. Because the man, he said, looked quite old and frail. And this portion of the cemetery was one of the oldest parts of the cemetery. He said that for him just to walk back to the gate would have taken a while. And he was hoping his brother was there, but his brother, the vacuum truck was already filled and they were taking it to be disposed of at the maintenance where they had a big area where they would dump all the lawn debris. So my friend, standing behind this walk-behind blower, which is shut off, he takes off his earplugs, he takes off his gloves, and he takes a few steps and just says, "Excuse me, sir, the cemetery is closed." The man, he's got a hat, he's holding it with both his hands, and he's looking down at this grave. And he said again, "Excuse me, sir." The man looked up, didn't look at him, just looked up. And my friend said, he slowly faded away. I did ask him, after you saw that, what did you do? Did you drop your stuff and run? He said no. He wasn't afraid. He was just more confused. He goes, I didn't understand what I saw. I couldn't believe what I saw. And he said he never felt afraid. He just was looking at the man. He said he felt a sense of sadness. So the next time you're walking through a cemetery alone by yourself, like I am, and you see a mourner, maybe they're here, or maybe they were here. I don't know. Anyways, that's my Halloween story, guys. I'm looking forward to get back to Los Angeles. The fall is neat to visit, but it's time to go home. So you guys have a good one. I'll see you on the next one.